Hey everybody. So, the other day I did a video on predicting the 5 toughest teams in the NHL this year. Who's going to lead the way physically as far as fighting and just overall physical play in the league. Now let's take a look at the other end of the spectrum. Who's going to be the softest teams in the league this year? Before we get into the video, I just want to say, if you are not yet a subscriber to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. As long as you're a fan of hockey and a fan of the NHL, there are videos here for you. So hit that subscribe button and follow this channel. So, these teams, I do not expect to see a lot from in the physicality department. Their lineup are really lacking any sort of physical play. First up, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Without Matt Martin, Toronto has the softest lineup in the league. They have really no physicality at all in their lineup. Nobody who fights on a regular basis. I think Nazem Kadri will probably lead the Maple Leafs in fighting majors this year, and he'll have maybe like 3 or 4. Without Matt Martin, there is no one in Toronto that can do anything physically on a regular basis. And it's going to be interesting to see if their star players get pushed around and taken advantage of, because there's nobody on that roster that's going to do anything about it. Unless they make some sort of move, with the rosters the way they are right now, Toronto, I think, is without a doubt the softest team in the league, and probably going to finish dead last in fighting majors this year. Next up, Carolina. Carolina has finished dead last in the league for the last couple of years in fighting majors. They do not have a tough lineup at all, and haven't in a long time. Now, this offseason, they made a big trade with the Calgary Flames and brought in Michael Ferland. Ferland is a pretty tough kid, and he adds a lot of physicality to Carolina's lineup. Certainly a lot more than what they had before that trade. So with Ferland in there now, he makes them definitely a little bit tougher. They also have Brock McGinn on the fourth line, who will probably fight a couple of times. But overall, not a tough lineup at all in Carolina, but Ferland certainly makes it better. The Arizona Coyotes. Arizona had Zach Rinaldo in the lineup last year and Luke Schenn on the back end. That definitely helped them physically and meant a lot to their overall team toughness. Both those players are gone. Zach Rinaldo's gone, and Luke Schenn signed in Anaheim. So where's the toughness going to come from in Arizona? They haven't added anyone this offseason that's overly tough. Really, it comes down to does Lawson Crouse make the team? If Lawson Crouse plays in the NHL this year, he'll probably be their leading fighter. If he doesn't and plays in the AHL, then I have no idea who is going to do anything physically for Arizona. They really don't have anyone there that drops the gloves on a regular basis or plays overly physical at all. Those 3 teams, I think, are the clear-cut, softest teams in the league. After that, it becomes, kind of, it's tougher to tell, and there's a lot of teams with, maybe one guy who fights, or a couple of guys who will only fight a few times a year, but they do have somebody willing to drop the gloves. I put San Jose next up. They have Brendan Dillon on the back end, who is a big guy, and he certainly is willing to fight. And he drops the gloves a few times every year. Also, Evander Kane is pretty tough, especially for a star player. He doesn't fight a lot, but he's somebody who can give you 2 or 3 on the season. Between Dillon and Kane, San Jose is they do have some guys willing to drop the gloves. They're not a team that's going to, fight every night by any stretch of the imagination, and that's why they're on this list. They outside of these 2, they really don't have anyone who drops the gloves on a regular basis, or really much at all. But so overall, San Jose is certainly, it's not like they have Michael Haley there like they did a couple years ago. They're definitely one of the softer teams in the league, but they do have guys who can step up when needed, especially Brendan Dillon. He's a big guy and can handle himself pretty well. And then lastly, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh has not had a tough lineup for a number of years now. They've definitely led the way as far as the transition from having tough guys and your bottom six having guys who fight and can really play physically. They've led that transition to the more speed and skill players, and even their fourth line has speed and skill players. Really, it's Jamie Oleksiak in Pittsburgh, and that's it. He's a very good bottom pair defenseman for them. Just signed a contract extension. He's going to be there for the next few years. But he is really their only toughness. When you look at their lineup, it is Jamie Oleksiak who is going to drop the gloves, and that's it. There's really no one else. After that, you'll get an occasional scrap from maybe Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, someone like that. But it's basically all on Oleksiak's shoulders to be the main tough guy in Pittsburgh. So they're certainly one of the weaker lineups as far as physicality goes in the league, and that's nothing new with Pittsburgh. That's how it's been for the last few years now. So these are the 5 teams that I predict will be the softest teams this year. Have the fewest fights, have the least physical games, have games that really don't have much hitting or fighting in them at all, not a lot of scrums. These are teams with lineups that just don't play that kind of hockey. And while there's certainly plenty of teams left that do play that kind of hockey, these teams are not them. So that's who I think will be your 5 softest lineups, softest teams this season, and we'll just have to wait and see how it turns out. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media, check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links in the description below. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thanks again for watching. Talk to you guys soon.